All right, so let's do this in perspective. Let's sketch a truck, for example, in perspective. So we're gonna do the same kind of technique. One box in the front. And now obviously this box is going to be in perspective, since that's what we're sketching. Another box over here. Goes something like that. And then we have the third box, which I'm building on top of the boxes that we already have. And from here, kind of want to maybe put out the wheels and connect these two, or the three boxes together like that. Let's see if we can make this work. I can see that there is a bed over here. We have the wheels going somewhere around here, right? This is all adjusting as you go as well, so even if you make mistakes at this point, you can always come back and fix them later. And I want to raise these boxes up since it's a truck. I want to keep it high above the ground. Have some clearance to go over whatever you need to go over on your farm or ranch or whatever you're using your truck for. Probably raise this up a little bit too. Something like that. I want this to be lower. You can see that now. So we're gonna adjust it. And we can put out the far wheel as well. Should go something like over here, I guess. And I think we have the proportions down. What we want to do now is to go in and refine and adjust what needs to be adjusted. There's quite a bit on this sketch. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm just gonna look over everything and see what needs to be adjusted, and then try to make those adjustments to get the perspective right, as well as the proportions. There is another way to do this in perspective as well, and I'm gonna show you that just in a second, which to me actually feels easier than this. This is more complicated in perspective. It works great in side view, but for perspective I prefer to do my cloud sketching instead, because it's way more fluid. I think perspective is more fluid. You gotta be more relaxed in your sketching when you do that. Then you do side view. Side view can be kind of isometric, but perspective, you can push the boundaries a little bit more, and you do that by being more loose in your sketching, and that's where cloud sketching comes in. I'm going to show you this in just a second here. Let me try to finish this one first. Oh, that's a weird line there. This works. I can work on this and get it nice and cleaned up if I spend some time on it, which I'm probably going to do now because I can't leave it like this. So same thing here, we used 3 boxes. Only difference is that now we put the boxes in perspective. So that's kind of why all these basic, maybe in some instances boring exercises are so important, because if you don't know how to sketch a box in perspective, you can't expect to, sketch anything else in perspective correctly, especially when it comes to cars, because cars are not simple surfaces. They're kind of complicated. So practicing the basics is so important, and I do this pretty much every time I sketch, I start with a warm-up sheet of paper where I just sketch a bunch of basic lines. So you have ellipses, you have cubes, you have whatever basic shapes you have, and then try to make those in perspective, because I know how important it is to keep that on point. That was another cat attack, if you heard that. Rosie's sitting in the window and going crazy over there. I think she's chasing some geckos. It's funny that they never learned that they can't catch it because it's a window there. It's so fun. It's a lot of fun to see them try, at least. I admire their persistence in that. You can connect the rims a little bit like this, just to make it look cool. Make some headlights. Like that. Make a center line, which is a little bit off. But as you know, this is my preferred way of sketching. Instead of setting up an entire grid system and spend half an hour putting up the perspective before you even start to sketch, I'm not that patient to do that. So adjust as you go is my tip, and I think you will enjoy it more too, unless you really love to sketch perspective grid lines, which is, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just time consuming. So we got a truck here. It looks decent, actually. It doesn't look too bad. This front wheel, I want to redo the front wheel, but I can do that another time. I want to jump into the cloud sketching technique, because I get questions pretty much daily, even though I have a bunch of videos on it, on how to sketch cars in perspective, and I get it, because it's not easy. It can be simple, but that doesn't mean that it's easy. Simple means that you've done it a lot of times and it doesn't take you a long time to get it, but to get to that point is going to require a lot of practice. So let's do 2 different views here of a sports car. Let's see what we want to do. Let's do just a regular sports car, back and front view. So the cloud sketching technique, if you haven't been in my... Actually, I'm gonna save this for the next video, so I'll see you in just a second.